Hello, and welcome to another and the last part. I don't know why I specifically said another, because it's definitely going to be the last part. Definitely going to be the last part of Life Isn't a Fairy Tale, or at least me reading it. Yeah, because there's only 15 chapters and we got about 3 left, so that'll be that. I still don't know the fanfiction reading that came out before this, because these were all finished, quite a while ago for you. Although I did finish reading, I guess, just all 3 of these today. I did those 2 yesterday, but whatever. So, yeah. Again, 3 chapters left. It'll be the end. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'd like to not rush through it, but I'd like to, get it done relatively quickly so I can, because there's things I think I need. I think there's something that happened later for me, so I'll need to be ready for that. And yeah, so that's about that. Yeah. Okay, so Life Isn't a Fairy Tale, Chapter 13 by AdamGrayson. Should have said that, but yeah. Are you serious? RWBY questioned. Are you sure this is legit? After Yang ran off, Weiss had went back up to her room and gathered Team Juniper to Team RWBY's dorm. There she made the announcement that she had the location of the White Fang. The responses were mixed. Who cares if it could be fake, Blake countered. We need to go and check this out. You're not thinking rationally, Blake, RWBY said. Blake scoffed. I think we need to repay them for the hell they've caused us. Jean stepped between the two, noticing a hint of hurt in Ruby's eyes. Hold on, I agree we need to check this out, but we can't go in without thinking. We can't go about it without thinking. We scoped the place out tonight, not all of us, a small team. If there's any White Fang activity there, we go for it. Weiss nodded. Right, but the team should be 2 people. Whoever we send, they can't bring attention to themselves. Spying only, no attacking. Jean looked at his team. Ren? Ren looked at him and nodded. I can do it, yes. God, I can't speak normally. I can do it, yes. Weiss stepped between them. Wait, you guys don't have to be involved if you can't handle this or if you're not ready to. Ren turned to her. We know Pierre wasn't just our teammate, she was our friend. A good friend. It's true we do owe the White Fang some payback for her, but it's more than that. We can't let the White Fang continue hurting people. Nora nodded. Ren's right. They need to be stopped. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. I'll break their legs. The group broke into smiles. Weiss nodded. All right, who's going to go with Ren? I'll go with him, Nora said. We'll poke around and see if we can uncover any of the White Fang. You sure about that, Nora? Weiss questioned. Not to be mean, but you do have a habit of talking a lot. She'll be fine. Nora knows when to be serious, Ren said a tad defensively. All right, then. Nora looked nervous, however. What do we do if we see Yang? She killed Pyrrha. She's just like one of them. No, Ruby and Weiss snapped. Blake glared at them. You 2 are going to defend her after what she did? What did she do exactly? Weiss asked. I'm not going to have this argument with you again, Blake. So get this in your head. I realize you're hurting. I know that. You have every right to mourn. Yang Zhilong would not kill Pyrrha. She may have went to the White Fang, but we know it's not as it seems. Something's going on, and she would not have hurt Pyrrha or any of us seriously. She did not run her sword through Pyrrha. That was Adam and Neo. They are the ones who killed her. It was Pyrrha's choice to take the blades for you when she could have simply tackled you away. Ruby frowned up at Blake. She's still my sister, Blake. Blake frowned as well, but Jean shook his head. She's right, Blake. It wasn't Yang. She was your partner. I know she was, and we both know she wouldn't want this to change you. Yang is your partner. You've known her for a year. Do you really think she would do that, knowing how much it would hurt you, her best friend, or us? Before all this, I wouldn't hesitate to say no, Blake admitted, looking at the floor. But after this? Think about this. If she was just helping them because of something or someone else had planned to come back to us, planned to come back to us, would she have killed Pyrrha or let them kill Pyrrha without some kind of warning? Weiss looked at her friend. Would she have given us warnings if she wasn't going to come back? If she didn't care anymore? Would she have asked Torchwick not to make her attack us? Would she really keep assuring me she loves me and I'll understand? Blake, don't listen to the rage in your heart. Listen to the logic in your mind. Blake's ears flattened against her head in thought. After a long moment, she sighed. No, she wouldn't have, unless the whole thing's a setup. Make us think she could still be on our side when she's not. Okay, we won't kill her. We'll detain her and question her after we take out the White Fang. Weiss sighed, but glad she made a slight improvement. That's fair enough. Ruby looked to her leader. Ruby, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply we kill Yang, Ruby cut her off. It's alright, Blake. I understand you're hurting. Ruby pulled the taller girl into a tight embrace. Blake mumbled into her hair. She's my best friend. I love her like a sister. I don't want to think this about her, but I don't know the truth. We'll get it soon. This is almost over. Weiss decided to give the two a moment alone. Jean, why don't we go to your dorm and plan out the espionage? Jean nodded. Right. I think it shouldn't need to be said that if you get into trouble, call us on your scroll. The blonde spoke as the four of them left the room. Ruby finally pulled away from the faunus after a few minutes. We have to trust that she's still on our side, Blake. Yang is the one that helped you and Pierre get together, remember? Why would she crush that? Blake smiled softly at the memory. I remember. She's a good friend. Then have faith. It's not that easy. It is. Just trust her, Ruby argued. I'll try. Ruby patted her shoulder. I know it's hard and that it will take some time, but Pierre would want you to be happy. You don't forget her. You just accept that she is gone. It's really all we can do. Blake sighed. I know I've lost so many people already, though. Ruby nodded. I understand that. I'm here for you. Weiss is here for you. We're all here. Thank you, Ruby, the cat fauna said softly. Ruby leaned up and planted a soft kiss on her cheek. Anything you need, Blake. Just ask. The next morning during breakfast, Weiss joined her team and Juniper for breakfast before class. It was decided Nora and Ren would tell them what happened after they rested. Weiss was sure she was going to the place, even if no one else went. She had to give Yang the chance. She sat at the table between Blake and Ruby. So you two okay? Ren nodded after sipping his cup. It went perfectly. We didn't get spotted and we got the information. And what exactly did you find out? Weiss questioned. They had about 3 guards outside, Ren replied. It's definitely the place. I overheard that there is a secret switch on the inside that leads to the underground base. The warehouse itself is empty. I gotta look in the windows, Nora piped in. There's a couple of boxes inside, but they looked empty. I didn't see a switch. Well, they would have hidden it in case someone happened to stumble in while the guards were being idiots, Blake shrugged. There's no telling how many of them are down there. If we're going to do this, we have to be careful, Ren said. I'm going, Weiss said, with or without you. Ruby bit her bottom lip. I'll go, for Yang. Maybe we can save her. I'm not going to let you go without me. We're in too, Jean said. Nora and Ren nodding next to him. But we may need more firepower. We might need to call Team Coffee. No way. No. Christ. I have someone I can call, Weiss said. Don't involve Coffee. We're doing this tomorrow. We have to do it tomorrow. It'll give us time to plan and won't give them time to move. Now, what's our plan? Blake said. Christ. Oh, my goodness. Why does my mouth, like, not work? Like, it's such a bad time. Now that I've, like, finally decided after so long to, like, try to do videos more often, even after spending, like, a couple weeks basically doing nothing in, you know, several months where I easily have the time to do stuff, just not doing it. Whereas now it's more like I don't have a ton of time to do it. Okay. It probably didn't make any sense what I just said. It's like I in theory have more time, but like when something comes up that I need to do, I like need to do it at that moment, otherwise I'm gonna miss it. And yeah, I don't know. That still is probably doesn't make sense. So I don't need to talk about it. Let's just move along. Okay. Chapter 14. At 12, Team Ruby and Juniper arrived at the warehouse, hiding across the street waiting for the twins to arrive. However, everyone was getting impatient, Blake especially. Weiss understood, but they needed to wait. You can't go in and fight without a level head, she had told her. There's 2 outside, and I think 3 more on the inside, Sean said. How long are we supposed to wait, Ruby asked. Did they say they'd get here at 12? Weiss nodded. They should be. Red sighed. We may need to go in without them and let them catch up. I know, just give them another minute, okay? I'd rather not go in there without them. Isn't Ruby the leader? Nora questioned. Well, yes, but Ruby butt in, cutting off her partner. But I let Weiss do the planning for the mission since it kind of is hers. When it comes back to the combat, Ruby will take over, Weiss explained. Nora nodded understanding. Oh, because that was really confusing. Blake pulled Milo off her hip. I'm sick of waiting. With Milo in rifle mode, the Faunus loaded a single round into the chamber before putting a silencer on it. Without waiting for anything else, she slipped down the street. Blake, Weiss called after her. Blake, we're not ready yet. What are you doing? Without answering, her teammate Blake crossed the street once she was a good distance back. She aimed the rifle and took a shot. Both guards on either side of the door dropped to the ground, entry and exit wounds on their heads. What was that? Weiss questioned. Penetrative round, Ruby said. It would shatter a person's aura if it's up and hit another target. It doesn't always work. With the guards down, Blake started to make her way to the warehouse, putting Milo on her hip and pulling out Gamble's shroud. She's not going to wait. Let's go. Okay. Sorry. Blake kicked in the warehouse doors and stepped aside. The others quickly on her heels, weapons at the ready. Inside, 2 white Fang members spun around and pulled their weapons. A familiar blonde stepped in between them. Yang. Ren, you didn't tell us Yang was a guard, Weiss snapped. She wasn't out here yesterday. Don't worry, boys. I've got this, she told the 2 grunts. When they lowered their weapons, Yang's hands shot out and clenched their shoulders. Without a struggle, the 2 dropped to the ground. I gotta love pressure points. Blake stepped forward. Yang, you better have a damn good reason for doing this to us. You mean to you, Yang frowned. Blake, I'm sorry. If I had known they were going to do that, I would have done something. How do we know you mean it? We still don't know what's going on with you. Is this some kind of trap? Are you going to turn us in now? Yang blinked. What? No, I do have a reason, but I couldn't tell you before. Why not? Sorry, my brain doesn't work right now. Jesus. Okay. Yang blinked. What? No, I do have a reason, but I couldn't tell you before. Why not? Torchwick, if I had told you guys something before, he would have went back on his word. And what was his word exactly? That he wouldn't hurt her. Why step next to Blake? That's the second time you've said that. Who is her? What's going on? They have my mom. Ruby looked at her sister in confusion. So you betrayed us for a mother you didn't even know? She might not even care about you, Yang. What if it's a good thing she left? What? No, Summer Rose. What? She has Summer Rose, Ruby. She's alive. I've seen her. I've talked to her. We have to get her out of here. Ruby froze in place, Cousin Rose slipping from her grasp. She stared at her sister, utterly confused. Yang, Mom's gone. Yang shook her head. No, she was spying on Torchwick when he was still a speck. She got caught, and he's kept her all these years. Why? Blake asked suddenly. Huh? Why would he keep her here? Why wouldn't he just kill her? Blake questioned. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to use her as a bargaining chip or something. I'm not questioning the why or how. All I know is that my mom is down there, and I need to get her out. So you really didn't leave us? Weiss asked. Of course not. I found a note in Ruby's bed. I went in her steed and got sucked into this. Weiss, please. Ruby snatched her scythe from the ground. Where is she? I knew I couldn't trust you. The voice boomed. The secret door opened and Torchwick stepped through. Yang stepped away from him on instinct. Ember Celica activating. You're just too much of a goody-goody. Here's what I propose. I'll give you your mother, but I'll need something in return. Since Kitten over there took out one of my top generals and Blondie took down my right hand, two of you should join me. Or how about the heiress in red? That's not going to happen, Yang said. Well then, how about a secure route to... No, Yang snapped. This ends today. You're not getting anything else. That's a shame, Junior. That's a shame, Junior. Whatever. Words. A few white Fang members came running from the entrance, followed by Junior, who was pulling along Summer Rose. She could barely stand on her feet without him tugging her along. Mom! Ruby cried. Summer looked up, her eyes meeting a matching pair. Ruby? Weiss spun around to grab her partner before she took off. Ruby, no, we need a plan here. Weiss, that's my mom. I know, but if you just run at him, he'll kill her. We need to think of something. Ruby wanted to argue, but nodded. Let her go and I'll give you a head start, Yang said. You missed your chance to negotiate. Boys, take them out. That's when the roof blew up. Pieces of roof dropped down, taking out several white Fang in the process. A bladed boot flew at Junior's head, stumbling him. He let go of Summer, and Weiss let Ruby slip from her grip. The young leader flew across the room with her semblance and quickly picked up her mother, surprised at just how light she was before she sped her way back to her team. John, get her to Beacon, quick. John nodded and carefully took Summer from her daughter before he ran out the door. As Ruby was rescuing her mother, Melanie and Milsha had come from the roof, creating a distraction and utter chaos. After Junior lost Summer, Torchwick ordered the attack. John barely got out of the door before the fighting started. See, again, it's happened. Yang saw the twins double-teaming Junior nearby as she herself delivered a right hook to a deer faunus. With all of Torchwick's main fighters dead, the grunts were dropping fast. However, it seemed to be a never-ending flow of them coming from the underground base. She would drop one and two more would show up. As the deer hit the ground, two sword-wielders jumped at her. A black and red blur charged in and slammed a curved blade into them. Yang looked at her little sister. I still have your back, Yang. You are the best sister ever. Ruby grinned and disappeared, leaving behind rose petals. Yang looked to her right and saw Weiss having trouble with a tall man wielding a huge chainsaw. The heiress was on a knee, trying to recover. The man raised his chainsaw above his head before he swung it down. Yang jumped in between them, holding her arms up in an X shape. The teeth of his weapon collided with Ember Celica. Yang planted her feet firmly on the ground. She focused back at Weiss, who was staring up at her. You couldn't handle this guy? Weiss, I'm disappointed. Yang grinned at her girlfriend. Weiss shook her head. You don't focus. I have to make sure my girl's okay. You are still my girl, right? Yang questioned nervously. Weiss stood up and pointed her rapier at the chainsaw wielder. A glyph formed under him, freezing him in place. Really not the time, Yang. With a soft smile, she gave the blonde a quick kiss. But yes, I am. Now focus. With that, she charged the nearest enemy. The smile didn't leave Yang's face, even as she gave the frozen white fang grunt a left hook to the jaw. He hit the ground, and she was sure he wasn't going to get up. She quickly scanned the warehouse and saw Torchwick just standing towards the back watching. She ran at him and noticed Blake in the way. Blake, up and over. The faunus glanced over at her and cupped her hands together and hunched over slightly. Yang put her foot in her partner's hands and Blake hoisted her in the air, Yang jumping with perfect timing. The blonde soared right into Torchwick and managed to give him a punch to the jaw. He stumbled and Yang took another swing. Torchwick barely managed to dodge the attack. Do you really think they'll take you back now? Shut up! Yang unleashed her gauntlets, each punch backed by a blast from her shotguns. Torchwick was on the defensive, barely managed to block the blast with his cane. He ducked under a right hook, swinging his cane into her stomach. Knowing it wouldn't keep her down, he used his momentum to spin and smash the cane across her head. He pulled out a familiar umbrella and slipped the hidden blade from inside. Now Yang was on the defensive, using her gauntlets to block the blade as Torchwick slashed at her. He feinted a slash and thrust downwards. She felt the blade pierce her calf and come out the other side. Ugh, Jesus. Torchwick wiggled the blade inside of her leg and Yang cried out. He pulled the blade free and Yang had a hard time keeping on her feet. Another quick thrust into the same leg brought the blonde to her knee. Jesus. The man seemed amused as he watched the blonde struggle to her feet. Another quick thrust pierced her arm. Good God. What is this? Yang saw Torchwick reel back for another attack. Instead of feeling steel in her chest, Yang felt the cool floor against her cheek. She looked up and gasped, blinking her eyes as if it would erase what she saw. Standing in front of Torchwick was Blake, Neo's blade piercing her chest. Christ almighty. Alright. Jesus. Well, that was that. I guess we'll do the last chapter, because, oh boy. I don't know if I'm ready for it, though. Chapter 15. Kitten, sacrificing herself for a traitor? Well, if you insist, I'll just have to oblige. Too bad I missed the heart. Let me try again. The blade twisted in Blake's chest, and the cry it caused got Yang's attention. Blake, she leapt at Torchwick, and this time he couldn't block the attack. The blast sent the man flying into the wall. As her legs gave out, Yang grabbed her partner to keep her from hitting the ground, instead lowering her to the ground. Her shirt was slowly turning red. Blake, what did you do? Yang pulled off her jacket and pressed it against her wound. It's a small blade, Blake said. I'm fine. It was like a needle. Yang blinked. Fine, you're bleeding all over the place. You're going to bleed out at this rate. What are you doing? You have your own injuries to heal. I told you Blake coughed. Don't argue with me. My wounds aren't life-threatening like yours. What were you even thinking? Blake looked up at her. Well, my partner was in danger. I thought you needed to borrow one of my lives. I do have 9 of them after all. 8 now. Yang blinked the tears away. Don't do that again. Try and stop me. Blake, RWBY sped over, sitting on her feet and gently pulling her downed teammate's head onto her knees. You're bleeding, Yang. You're kneeling in a pool of blood. Is that all from Blake? To be fair, I think some of it's mine. The blonde took a look under her. It's not a puddle, more like a spot. She felt the soft, firm grip on her shoulder. Yang, stop healing her. Ren can take over. He can at least heal her enough so we can move her. Weiss, no. You need to heal yourself as well. Ren is a master at controlling his aura. Ren knelt across from her, on Blake's other side, moving his hand over the wound as Weiss gently pulled away Yang's. I don't need healing, Blake argued. Are you trying to die? The wound is too close to your heart. You need medical attention. You're not going to see Pyrrha yet. Ren said. You have to use up all 8 of those lives before then. What, I'm not... Ruby slipped the bow off and softly scratched Blake's cat ears. Just relax, Blake. Yang looked over at Weiss. What happened to the battle? As soon as Torchwick was taken, his grunts crumbled. They all took off running. Nora and the twins gathered up the ones we've managed to knock out, restraining them until Ozpin gets here. Ozpin's coming. Ozpin's coming? Jean sent word that he made it back to Beacon and they're on the way. And Mom? Getting looked at in the infirmary. I'm pretty sure you and Blake will be in the beds next to her, so don't worry. Weiss grinned, a poor attempt at trying to lighten the mood. Yang shook her head. That was horrible. I'm trying to distract myself from the holes in your leg and your arm. You're losing a lot of blood, too. Here, let me... Yang grabbed Weiss's approaching hands. Cavalry is on the way. Don't waste your strength. I'll be okay. You hurt, Ruby? We're fine, Weiss said. Yep, no injuries here, Ruby confirmed. Torchwick, we caught him, Melanie said, reproaching him with Milsha. He was crawling away with a bunch of shotgun shells in his shoulder, not to mention the collision with the wall probably broke a few bones. Good. Hey, since when are you quadruplets? The twins frowned in confusion. What? Weiss turned the brawler's head towards her. The lilac eyes looking into her own were hazy. Yang? Yang didn't answer. She fell in a heap on her girlfriend's chest, eyes closed. Oh, we still got like most of the chapter left. Oh, goodness. Okay. What's with the yawn? Not too long after Yang passed out, Ozpin showed up with Good Witch, Jean, and some of the teachers. Yang and Blake were rushed to the infirmary while the captured White Fang members were taken into custody. Ozpin made it clear to Weiss and Ruby that once their teammates were back on their feet, they would have a long conversation about what exactly happened. Ruby wasn't worrying about that now, though. Upon returning to Beacon, she found out her mother was still in the infirmary, but was now in a room by herself. Yang and Blake were put in another room just down the hall. Ruby was a bit torn, wanting to go see her mother but worrying about her sister. Weiss promised to stay with Yang and Blake, and it eased her mind. Now she was standing in front of the closed door, taking a deep, preparing breath. She was nervous and a bit scared. Would her mother be proud of her? Disappointed? She hoped for the former. She shook her head and pushed open the door. Summer was in a hospital bed, laying on her back with her eyes closed. She was in one of the hospital gowns, under a sheet of the bed. She was so skinny, it worried Ruby. Is she even healthy? Ruby took a step back to walk out, but was frozen when Silver Eyes met her own. There was a silence as Summer stared at her daughter. Ruby? She finally questioned, sitting up against the headboard. Yes, Ruby nodded. Tears welled up in Summer's eyes. Come here. For a moment, Ruby thought she had used her semblance to get to the bed. Before she knew it, Summer had took her arm and pulled her onto the bed and had her in a tight hug. When she felt Summer's touch, the dam broke and Ruby started to sob into her shoulder. Her arms wrapped tight around her waist. The two sat like that for a long time, until slowly the tears stopped enough for Summer to speak again. She moved back to look at Ruby again, cupping her cheek in her palm. You're so beautiful. I always knew you'd be a looker. Ruby's cheeks matched her hood. Mom, last time I saw you were so little. It's been so long. We thought you were dead, Ruby frowned. I was too young. When I started getting older, some of the memories faded. If Dad didn't keep a picture of you on the mantle, I probably would have forgotten your face. Shh, I'm right here. I'm so sorry I couldn't let you know I was alive. Ruby shook her head. No, don't apologize. It's not your fault. It was Torchwick. Yang told me a little before the battle. Battle? What happened? After Jean took you away, we had to fight the White Fang. We caught a few of their members, including Torchwick. You did? Oh, I'm so proud. Be proud of Yang. She's the one that took him down. Where is Yang? I thought she would have brought you to see me, Summer frowned in confusion. She's in a room down the hall. She got injured. She and Blake did. She's got multiple stab wounds. Blake apparently pushed her to the ground and took a sword to the chest for her. We almost lost her. It was so close to her heart. God. Oh my goodness. My jaw is getting sore. Ugh. I am too stressed out and not sleeping very well. Ugh. Good God. Okay. 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 Summer's eyes filled with worry. Is she okay? Ruby nodded. Both of them will be fine. They lost blood, though. They need rest. As soon as Yang can move, I'm sure she'll be here. And you can meet the rest of my team, too. I'm sure my friends would love to meet you, too. I think if you think you have enough energy. Ruby wasn't aware she started rambling. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yang told me you're the team leader and that you use your own sniper sight. Yeah, I built Crescent Rose by myself. Oh, by the way, Osmond had the warehouse searched and he found all your belongings. Your scythe, not the hood, though. I have that. Summer smiled. I'm aware. It looks good on you. You keep it. Are you sure? Yes, it's okay. Ruby smiled softly and nodded. Okay. Her brow furrowed in worry. Are you going to be okay? I am. I'm malnourished, though. I need to eat more to get my strength back. Don't worry, Ruby. This time I'm not going anywhere. Good. Oh, we need to call Dad. Tell him we found you. I think Osmond said he was going to handle that, Summer said. Don't fret, my little flower. Everything's going to be okay. I haven't heard that in so long. Ruby teared up again at the old pet name. Summer pulled her youngest back into her embrace. You'll hear it more now that I'm back. Soon you'll be tired of it. Never. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I need a break. Oh wow. So interesting. I really care. Very cool. Why? No. Okay. Completely forgot what I was going to do. I mean, it wasn't going to be anything that you would really think about, but like that would matter to whatever. Okay. Wife sat in chair in between her teammates' beds. She wanted to keep an eye on both of them, so she decided to sit between them. Blake was the only one awake. Yang was still unconscious. There was no serious damage to either of them, though Yang would have to stay off her leg until it healed. Blake would have to take it much easier, but she would recover with no complications. That was a weight off Weiss's shoulder. She thought she would lose at least one of them, if not both. Having just got Yang back, she didn't want to lose her so soon. Her injury wouldn't have been fatal, but she was bleeding out. Blake, you okay? Weiss questioned in silence. Do you need anything? After a moment, Blake responded. No, I'm okay. You getting hungry? Not really. I actually had another question. Why did you save Yang? I thought you were still mad. I was, but you were right. Neo and Adam held the blades, not Yang. Yang wasn't betraying us for her own gain like I had thought. If she knew that was going to happen, she would have done something. The ones who killed Pierre have paid the price. Besides, Blake looked over at the heiress. She is my partner, and if I let your girlfriend die, you wouldn't let me hear the end of it. Weiss chuckled softly. No, you wouldn't hear the end of it, from me or Ruby. So what's going to happen now? We won't be going on any missions anytime soon, that much is certain. Weiss replied, shifting in the chair to look more clearly over at Blake. Unless someone needs backup and Ruby and I are needed to help. Torchwick's in jail, the White Fang is all but broken. Sean told me that they plan to put someone else on Team Juniper. What? They can't just replace Pyrrha. I know, that's not the intent. A team has to be a team of 4. Blake shook her head. Well, what about Summer Rose? I assume she'll return home to Ruby and Yang's father after she's healed. Do you think Yang will get in trouble? Blake asked, almost hesitantly. Weiss sighed. I'm not sure. Osmond said once you both are healed, he wants to talk to us. That's never good. Blake? Yang called out weakly. The doctor had given her some medicine to help her rest. I'm okay, Blake responded quickly. Weiss moved to sit next to Yang on the edge of the bed. We're all okay. Relax. What happened? You blacked out. We're in the infirmary at Beacon. Weiss answered. Torchwick is in jail. Ruby's with your mom. Mom's here? Yang looked up at Weiss. The drugs were still wearing off. I'll take you to see her when you're mobile. Yang whispered. Come closer. Weiss leaned over only to receive closer. She leaned down more, and Yang managed to lift her head to give her a kiss. There. Weiss chuckled. You dork. I think the medicine they gave you were a little too strong. How are you feeling? I'm not hurting. That's good. I want to see her, Yang said, struggling to sit up. Eris shook her head. No, lay back down and rest. Weiss, Yang, I know you need to see her, but you have to take care of yourself. Please? Blake let out a soft sigh. Take her. What? Pick her up and carry her or give her your shoulder. I'll be fine here. Weiss sighed, shaking her head. Okay, fine, but only because I love you. I hope you're talking to me and not her, Yang joked softly. Of course I mean you. Come on. Weiss helped the blonde to her feet and pulled her arm around her shoulders, wrapping her own arm around Yang's waist. Take it slow. Don't rush. He's not going anywhere. Okay. The two slowly made it out of the door. Weiss wasn't quite strong enough to fully support Yang, but she seemed able to walk, if slow. I'm sorry. What? Yang's out of nowhere apology confused her. Why? The lying, hurting you, having to attack you? Weiss shook her head. Forget about that. It's over now. We told you it's okay. We understand. Still my girlfriend? Chuckling, Weiss replied. I told you earlier I still was. Good, because I already told Mom you were. What? She took it better than I thought. I thought we weren't doing the whole introducing to parents yet. Well, it couldn't be helped, Yang smirked. Weiss stopped the door. Here it is. I'll need to help you inside, huh? Probably, sorry. You're fine. She helped Yang into the room. On the edge of the bed sat Ruby, and laying next to her, it was like looking into the future or something. Summer Rose looked like a grown-up Ruby. She hadn't seen someone look so much like their parent before. When they stepped in the room, the two stopped talking and looked over. Summer frowned worry on her face. Yang. Sorry, Weiss said nervously. Tried to get her to rest longer, but she insisted on coming. Yang, you're up. Ruby looked at her. You should have listened to Weiss. Come sit here next to me. Ruby jumped up and went to the other side of the bed, farther away from the door. Weiss helped Yang to the bed and helped her sit down. Yang collapsed onto her mother's chest, though Weiss couldn't tell if it was from exhaustion or if she intended to do that. Summer ran her hair softly through Yang's locks and looked up at Weiss. So you're the infamous Weiss Schnee. I am... Yes, ma'am, Weiss spouted, trying not to squirm. The older woman gave her a small smile. Relax, I'm not going to hurt you. That is, unless you hurt my daughter. Mom, I'm the only one that's been doing the hurting lately, Yang mumbled into her shoulder. Oh, shush, I just want your girlfriend to understand. Weiss gulped. I have no intentions of hurting Yang. Good, I assure you're going back to help Blake here as well. No, I was going to go and sit with her. Give you some alone time as a family. Weiss rubbed the back of her neck. Well, how about you give us 10 minutes alone and then you two come in here for a while? I'll see if Blake feels like moving. Summer nodded. Fair enough. I just want to meet this team my little flower's been going on about for the past 10 minutes. Ruby turned red and fumbled on her protest. Weiss couldn't help but giggle. Honestly, Blake should be worse off than Yang, but Blake didn't even pass out, and Yang still messed up on the medicine. I think they gave her a stronger dose than necessary. She more than likely won't want to interrupt. RWBY piped in. It may be hard for Blake to be around family's mom. She doesn't have hers anymore. It's probably hard for her to see us get our mother back and hers still be... Oh, Weiss, I'm sorry. Weiss shook her head. I'm fine. I moved on from that. You two are happy. Torchwick and Whitefang are done. I'm happy. If she isn't comfortable, then that's quite alright. Weiss nodded. If you need me, I've got my scroll, RWBY. With that, Weiss turned around and walked out. She glanced back to see RWBY leaning gently against Summer's shoulder. Summer herself with an arm around RWBY, rubbing her back, the other hand still in Yang's hair. She couldn't help but smile softly before she left the happy family alone. Maybe she would give them 20 minutes instead. Okay. So, I don't know exactly if this has a sequel, but obviously there's no Blake and Pyrrha in it, so if you want me to continue reading this and have something completely different, I actually don't know if this person has any more stories related to this. I guess we could look now. That is not correct. That's not really correct. No, that doesn't make... triangle. That's not... So confusing. Okay. What is this? Can I just, like, all of that? Okay, yeah, specifically go to RWBY ones. That would make more sense. Okay, so that's not... What? Oh my goodness. That's not... No, that's not... So, that's obviously there. That's not it. I don't know. So clearly that's not it. That's obviously not it, because that's just all over the place. So there's these two, which it's yeah. Because again, I don't know. Because like, okay, what if we go in here? No, that is not it. It is an issue because it's like, so I don't know. Realistically, either of these could, in theory, be the next, like, the sequel, but this doesn't really make sense, and I have no idea. It's not it either. Okay, so it seems that AdamGrayson, he or she, I have no idea, decided that they weren't really going to write too much of this anymore. I don't know. It's like, obviously this was a little more recent than this, or, especially like, oh god. Especially like this or that, because there's only a couple with like Blake and Pyrrha. It's this one which isn't involved. This one which we just read, and this one which doesn't make sense, and it says it was the first RWBY story they ever wrote, so obviously it wasn't done afterwards. So yeah. And I don't think I want to read this, so I guess we're not going to end up reading anything else, but oh god, now I've done it. Okay, so we're back here. Yeah, next time I don't know exactly what I'll be reading, but I don't think there's anything really anything else requested. I don't think there's any. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. Obviously, in the next video, you'll probably see. I don't know. You've probably already seen if you've watched. Yeah, if you've obviously I don't know what's coming up next at this exact moment. But that's just because I haven't looked. You probably know because some of the videos have been uploaded already. Anyways, that's the end for the Blake and Pyrrha fanfiction because there really isn't anything else that's really good. I mean, obviously I could look, but there's not much that's really good besides for like what I already read. So yeah, that's about all. Again, return to this every time, and you know, there we go. I'm really tired.